We were in Africa. We were in Planet of the Apes.
Just so you know. No!
You shouldn't be sorry. You're not
This is
supposed
just
to
so
be
you know.
sorry.
You know what I put on yesterday? Bicentennial nigga.
Would you agree that as you get older, you become more conservative?
No, I was always a bit of a dick.
Hey, y'all. Today, we're going to talk about the Joe Rogan Experience. JRE is without a doubt one of the most popular podcasts available at the moment. Because they're making every effort to maintain it, it's undoubtedly the most popular podcast on Spotify. Some take a different turn, but many proceed as you might expect. We'll explain everything to you. Nick DiPaolo. Though most of us can probably agree that politicians lie, Joe Rogan got into a heated debate with comedian, actor, writer, and radio and podcast host Nick DiPaolo about whether or not Trump was a bigger liar than Hillary Clinton, for example, and whether or not the mainstream media just detested Trump and exaggerated the truth.
Would you agree that as you get older, you become more conservative?
No, I was always a bit of a dick. I got a tattoo of Nixon on my ass. Hold on, let me show you.
Rogan thought that the US president was a greater liar than anyone else, and he charged that the ISM was essentially trying to downplay the issue of Trump's lies by pointing the finger at other dishonest politicians. Andrew Hill. For a very long time, Joe Rogan has provided commentary for the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC. Because of this, martial arts are a subject that comes up frequently on the Joe Rogan Experience. He once had a scientist named Andrew Hill on his show, and during that episode, he disclosed that he was an Aikido practitioner.
I'm telling you right now.
Although Joe thought that martial art was very interesting, he said that because of its techniques and philosophies, he didn't really feel that it matched up to all the other various martial arts. You must observe certain etiquette guidelines when appearing as a guest on any podcast or show in general. For instance, it's okay to promote yourself, but don't overdo it. However, over time, Brian increasingly utilized the show to promote himself and his comedic status. Even at the conclusion of a podcast, he would change topics to discuss a review he received for a comedy show. This infuriated Rogan, and the two got into an argument. Other things we hold him accountable for, but not this one. Jamie Kilstein.
So I am known as this male feminist, which again, and it kind of becomes my thing. So I go on your show.
That part was ignored conveniently.
The whole part where he's just like, what's funny about it? And like,
Right.
that's a good, technically, that's an anti-rape joke, right?
Exactly. Which, if you know Daniel, that's how he thinks. I mean,
Right.
he's not a bad guy in any sense of the word.
And that's a great way, but that has to do with these echo chambers where I'm like, well, I didn't fucking hear that part of
Right.
it.
This one had comedian Jamie Kilstein in it, and the outcome was not amusing at all. The two got into an argument about a joke Jamie had made during his sketch about assaulting women during one of the episodes.
And there was a girl next to me, and there's a woman next to me and my girlfriend who just started screaming like, don't talk about it. And like, so they ignored her the whole time. And my girlfriend and I would look over, and then she would like have another sip of her drink and watch the show and giggle, and then rape would come up, and she was like, stop, and she would just scream, but like she didn't leave. And I'm not trying to sound
for the sake of
victim-y,
honesty,
by the way.
but
Yeah.
for the sake of honesty, the real issue came not just because of that, but because of your characterization.
The next day.
Yeah.
Totally. So the next day.
There's a video out about it that someone put together called the Kilstein Delusion.
Yeah, and some of that shit was taken out of context. Some of that shit I will completely like own up to. I watched it like once. I mean,
He went so far as to say that being murdered is preferable to going through that attack. When Joe heard that, he lost it and called him crazy because while you can recover from an attack, death is still death. But this is one of those jokes that you just don't make.
at that point, just all hell broke loose. Like I lost my managers. I was having like someone hacked my Twitter and just wrote rape all over it, and I was kind of like,
why'd you lose your manager?
They said it was because I don't cooperate with the comedy community.
Brian Callen. Former UFC champion Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen are two of Joe's favorite guests that he enjoys having on frequently.
Whoa.
I think he's looking.
You know
down
what happened
there.
to me? I got bullied for a full year, and it turned me into a fucking, if somebody tried to bully me, I'll show up at your fucking house and kill you. That's what happens. I get so angry.
I'm not buying that even remotely.
I hate when
Hey,
that's
bro,
not true.
You fucking bully me.
If I
you know
bully
you
you,
try bullying me right now, motherfucker.
You know what your problem is?
Hold on, let me
Here's
handle
your
this.
problem.
Joe criticized Callen for his ostensibly tough guy demeanor, pointing out that it wasn't their fault that he allowed certain people to speak to him for an extended period of time.
Hold on,
I
not
watched
yet.
a scary movie with him, and it was the most annoying thing
Tell you
ever.
what,
He
I would
goes,
fuck
"Oh,
this
I
guy up."
fucking wish a demon would grab me, man. You know what I would do?" And I'm like,
I get mad.
"Why are you talking to me
It's
like
not
this?"
that you get mad. It's that you hang around with people for a long time. You hung around with people that allowed you to talk like that.
No.
Without mocking you.
Who aren't tough. Who aren't tough.
Ruthlessly.
Bros, listen up. I will fuck some. You bully me, bro. I don't
you
give a
fuck
shit
up
about
a
your
demon?
UFC bullshit. I will fucking come right at you.
I could pin you on the ground right now and put
you
my
could
dick
try.
in your mouth.
You could
for
try.
no reason.
You could try.
Next one, Adam Conover.
Hormonally.
I shouldn't even
affect
phrase it
their
as a choice,
development.
like embrace that identity.
But it is a choice, right? I mean, if
I
you're
don't know.
choosing to add hormones to a child's body, that's a choice.
It's
Or
a
hormone
choice on
blockers.
it's a choice on the part of the parent. It's not a choice on the part of the child to like in the same
not-
way that being gay isn't a choice. Yeah.
Okay, but if
Transgender people's rights are under greater threat than they have ever been. Some states, like Texas and Florida, are enacting laws that make it difficult to literally just survive. It is pretty repulsive. Once, Joe Rogan invited comedian and TV host Adam Conover to talk about the problem of transgender people. Adam also expressed his ideas clearly when he pointed out
The experience of being trans and not receiving hormones, right, and not having the body that you identify with, the feeling of dysphoria, right, is extremely like painful and is a condition unto itself, right.
but Joe is very quick to point out issues with that philosophy.
And the best treatment for that we know exists is to do gender confirmation via hormones. And
you know that doesn't affect the suicide rate. The suicide rate for trans people is very high, post-op and pre-op. Really doesn't get affected by whether or not you treat them.
well, the operation,
And then
one
the question could be,
misconception
like,
is
why is that? Is that because they're not accepted by society and we're not more loving? Could it be underlying issues that are causing them to feel this way in the first place? Like, what is it? We don't know. And
These days, this fear is even more widespread. Therefore, those who are attempting to change transgender people ought to pay attention to what Rogan has to say and stop. Joey Diaz.
do you
If
feel
I
like
tell you
people are more
something, you won't-
sensitive?
I know you won't get mad at me. I feel the energy is different, but guess what, G?
What?
It don't apply to me. It don't apply to me. Doesn't apply to me, and it's never going to apply to me. Okay? I understand me shooting your special on your network. You don't want me to use certain words. There's parts, and I get that. This is a business.
Right.
This is a business, and I got mouths to feed. But
Let's now discuss comedian, actor, and podcast host Joey Diaz. Because of where and how he was raised, he is also a Cuban American. He finds himself in a difficult situation with regard to the words he uses and the way he speaks.
I'm going to let it fly.
You gotta let it fly.
Okay? And I'm sorry.
No.
This is just
this
so you
is-
know.
You
No!
shouldn't be sorry. You're not
This is
supposed
just
to
so
be
you know.
sorry.
You know what I put on yesterday?
What'd you put on
Guess what I
yesterday?
put on the studio yesterday?
What?
And this is it. This
What?
is it because it's time.
What?
We're not taking it no more. I'm not taking it no more. I put on an album, and again, I'm very sorry if I offend somebody. I didn't name it this, he did. So take your fucking problem up with him. Name of the album is Bicentennial Nigga.
Joe didn't overreach in his understanding of his position. Additionally, Joe, it is a very special issue because, in this day and age, our words matter. Number one, the N-word apology.
I'm making this video to talk about the most regretful and shameful thing that I've ever had to talk about publicly. There's a video that's out that's a compilation of me saying the N-word. It's a video that's made of clips taken out of context of me of 12 years of conversations on my podcast, and it's all smushed together, and it looks fucking horrible.
And that takes us to a recent incident where he completely lost it when it came to saying sorry. Over the years, Rogan has faced criticism for his use of the N-word in earlier podcasts. As a result, he produced and uploaded an online apology video.
Now, I know that to most people, there's no context where a white person is ever allowed to say that word, never mind publicly on a podcast. And I agree with that now. I haven't said it in years, but for a long time, when I would bring that word up, like if it would come up in conversation, instead of saying the N-word, I would just say the word. I thought as long as it was in context, people would understand what I was doing. I was also talking about how there's not another word like it in the entire English language, because it's a word where only one group of people is allowed to use it, and they can use it in so many different ways. Like if a white person says that word, it's racist and toxic, but a black person can use it and it could be a punchline, it could be a term of endearment.
Many people reacted to this, and after hearing what Joe Rogan had to say, even people who had previously supported him, like The Rock, retreated from their support. The musician who confronted him pointed out that he shouldn't have said the word.
It could be lyrics to a rap song, it could be a positive affirmation. It's a very unusual word, but it's not my word to use. I'm well aware of that now. And there's another clip that I have to address. There's a clip from 11 years ago.
We'll take what we can get, but regrettably, he hasn't expressed regret for many of his other actions, such as spreading false information about the COVID vaccine.
I was telling a story on the podcast about how me and my friend Tommy and his girlfriend, we got really high. We were in Philadelphia and we went to go see Planet of the Apes. And we didn't know where we were going. We just got dropped off by a cab and we got dropped off in this all black neighborhood. And I was trying to make the story entertaining. And I said, we got out and it was like we were in Africa. It's like we were in Planet of the Apes. I did not, nor would I ever say that black people are apes, but it sure fucking sounded like that.
And that's it for everyone. Take a look at Joe Rogan and the occasions when he's become emotional while hosting his podcast. Which of these instances do you recall occurring initially? Which ones do you think Joe made important observations about? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Make sure to subscribe, and we hope to see you on the channel again soon.